About 4 years ago, I took a trip to Paris, a short, 5-day trip with my sister. And we were just exploring Paris and we kind of stumbled on this place. I thought this would be a dream come true if I could have a studio and work here. Prior to 20 years ago, this was an artist squat. The city of Paris was going to evict all the artists who lived here, but they organized and appealed to the city of Paris to support artists who want to live and work here. And the city of Paris agreed and bought the building. And you can't live here, but there's 30 studios and 15 of them are for Parisian artists or French artists, and the other 15 rotate among international artists who apply, and if you're accepted you can work here from 3 to 6 months and have that experience of being an artist in the middle of Paris. Since I was a little kid, I loved art and I really wanted to be an artist. But like so many people, my parents were like, that's not practical. You can never earn a living as an artist. So my first career was high school English teacher because I also love words and books and poetry, and that's probably my first love is literature. I went on and got a doctorate at Berkeley, and I did some teaching at Berkeley, and then I got bitten by the high-tech bug and I went to work at Apple, and I worked at Apple Computer for 10 years and then got recruited away to work at some other high-tech companies that were interested in education because I had this background in education. But during this whole 25-year high-tech career, I always took art classes, calligraphy classes. I did work in my spare time. I had little exhibits when I could. I was really born to be an artist. Economic crash in 2008 happened in the company I had worked for. I thought, it's a sign from the universe. It's time for me to cast my fate to the art winds. One of my dreams has also been to live for an extended period of time in Paris, learn the language, get that je ne sais quoi. I applied. You go through an application process. I got an email saying, we're considering you. We need to do a Skype interview. So I said, could we do it in English? Next thing you know, we had set the time. The Skype call comes in. 4 French artists on the other side. None of them said they spoke English. And I wanted so badly to make a good impression and be accepted. Between my not very good French and their not that great English, we had a fine time conversing, and at the end of the interview, they invited me to be one of the artists here. My mother, who passed away a few years ago, was a Holocaust survivor. And I've thought about her so much. I'm going to cry. I haven't talked about this at all. But here I am living in Paris, and I have all the resources at my disposal. And my mom, who was from Vienna, was able to escape Hitler on something called the Kinder Transport, that there were these trains that took Jewish children who would have gone to camps and took them to England, where they either were adopted by an English family or went to orphanages, but they got to live. At 13, left behind everything, her parents, her family, and her language, and arrived in London not speaking one word of English. And this wonderful cushy experience I'm having is nothing like hers, and yet I still feel like there can be loneliness, there can be feeling a little like an outsider, and so it's been a connection with her and also a deeper appreciation of how much more difficult her life was. a friend who has a gallery and would like to show my work when I return just suggested to me a title for this collection called La Vie en Rose, which I love that name. So at least tentatively, that's what I'm working on, Life in Pink. And so this is really the first very early start of it. And I have a couple more that I've just started, and I'll see where it goes. It could transform into something completely different, but I've begun. I've only been here about 4 or 5 days.